Well, hello again. It's a Sunday afternoon and it's still pretty cold in this winter, although we're up in the 20s today. So I've decided to make some soup for supper, and today what I'm going to make is a potato and onion soup. The base recipe that I'm using as a starting point is one of the Frugal Gourmets from his Immigrant Ancestors book. It's his Irish potato soup. But I am, of course, going to change it to make it my own, because he says to start out sauteing some onions in butter, and I would rather saute my onions with a little bit of bacon. So the first thing I'm going to do is chop up some bacon, and then I'm going to chop up some onion and throw them in and go from there. Now, the bacon that I've got, I normally buy Nuskis, and I normally buy bulk packs of 5 pounds each. Today what I've got is, the last time we were at Nuskis, they had some 2 or 3 pound bags of ends and pieces. These are the ends from when they're slicing stuff up, and there's not a single one that's a whole piece of bacon, but it's a lot less expensive, and since I'm going to chop it up anyways, it's perfect. The other difference is today we're going to use cherrywood smoked bacon instead of applewood smoked bacon. So I'll give you a quick look at the bacon and the onion as I start to chop them, and then I'll toss them into the Dutch oven where I'm going to be making the soup. So let's zoom in a little bit. Here's my chunk of bacon. As you can see, there's oddball shapes, but it's going to work just great for what I'm after here. So yeah, this is every once in a while, Nuskis, you go to the store, you never know when they're going to have a special or what it's going to be. We were up there a couple of weeks ago and stopped in, and they had this cherrywood bacon ends and pieces on sale for, I think it was like $3 a pound or something like that, which for their bacon is really pretty fantastic price. So I bought some. I don't know how many this would come out to. Probably about four slices, maybe, if I'd started with regular sliced bacon. There's that. My recipe calls for 2 medium onions. There we go. There's onion number 1, and you've seen onion chopping before, so I'm going to stop the video now and get this chopped up, and I'll come back to you in a few minutes. Okay, I've got one onion in with the bacon already, and here's the other one, relatively finely chopped. I mean, I could have gone finer, but I don't see a need to. So there's the second onion in there. And we'll just stir this around and let it all saute. What I want to do is get the onions soft, but not to stop just before I start browning them. And then we'll add the soup stock and the potatoes. Okay, the next step in the process now is going to peel and then slice up 4 potatoes. So I'm going to start peeling those, and we'll have at them. You can see what I've got there. I've got 4 pretty good sized potatoes. So get out the handy dandy potato peeler, and again, you don't need to see the details of this, so we'll come back to you as soon as they're all peeled. 3 of the potatoes are now sliced. I'll show you what I'm doing with this 4th one. They're peeled. You can see I've just chopped them in half and quarter them to give me wedges. And then we'll slice those up into good sized chunks. But this will all boil up nicely and make good sized pieces in the soup. So hopefully you can get an idea here of about the size that I'm doing. Here, I'll show you one or two of them in my hand. It's awful. I don't know how the guys on TV that are doing the weather forecast can move appropriately for the camera with the green screen. I can't hardly do it here when I'm looking at the screen myself. Anyways, there's the potatoes, all of them. Well, you're looking at this from a different angle now. You can see I've got the bacon and the onion nicely sauteed. The onion is all translucent, but it's not brown. Whoops, I just kicked the... Pay attention. Don't kick the tripod. So we'll just... Well, I dropped one piece of potato, which can go into the garbage. To this I need to add my chicken stock. The recipe calls for 5 cups. Again, I think I've mentioned before to you that we tend to make chicken stock whenever we have a chicken and a carcass, and this has been frozen. I just took it out of the freezer. So there's the chicken stock, which has been partially thawed. We also need a couple of cups of milk. And there's a few spices that need to go in there. We need a little bit of thyme. That's too much. There you go. Some dried thyme. And a little bit of celery seed. And a little bit of parsley, dried parsley flakes. Now all that has to go until it starts to simmer and the potatoes get soft. So there's no point in you watching 20 minutes of liquid going from ice to a boil. But that's where we're at. We'll come back in a few minutes. I thought I was videoing, and I don't know if I was or not. But the camera suddenly turned itself off. So I'm now back again, restarting, and I'll re-comment on what I'm doing. I've got my smallest frying pan, and I am melting some butter into it. It's probably a little bit too much reflection of the light here. But anyways, I'm melting some butter, couple, 2-3 tablespoons, and there you go. It's melted. I'm going to add a little bit of flour. It's a 1/4 cup measure, but I'm not going to put it all in until I see where I am here. I want to see what condition my roux is in, because I can always add either flour or butter at this point. Actually, that looks like the quantities are just about right. So let's assume that first attempt to show you making a roux didn't work when the camera decided to turn itself off. So what I'm doing here is just making a roux for thickening up my soup tonight, and I'm almost thinking that what I'm going to do, depending on how long my total video is for the soup, is that I may turn this roux into a separate video. I tend to stir pretty regularly. I don't have a large roux here, you know. It's not a big amount. I'm not planning on. I don't want my soup to turn into plaster of Paris or cement. But I do want to properly heat up the flour. And I'm just going for what's called a blonde roux. That's where the color won't be very much darker than what I've got right here, right now. So, I'll just let this sit for a minute. Take out my glasses so they don't get foggy. I'll give you a quick look at the soup here. We'll move that out of the way that way. And here's our potato soup. Let's see how really done our potatoes are. That's just about there. I think that's probably good enough. I'm going to take this little piece out and I'm going to let him cool enough so I can taste him. That looks pretty good. Let's stir around our roux a little bit. Here, we'll show you the roux as I'm stirring it. I think I need just a little bit more liquid in there. I'm going to add just a couple drips of olive oil. I think it was just a little bit too dry. I can test my potato. In about a minute or so, I'll be ready to put the roux into the soup. Okay, there you go. There is a simple roux at what they would call the blonde stage. And we are about ready to, I'm going to turn the heat off and I will put that to good use right now in my potato soup. So let's aim the camera up that way. Yeah, look at that. It's just beginning to brown a little bit. And I don't want this, it's very hot, as you can hear. I don't want it too thick. I just want to make this a little bit creamy. So we're going to stir this like this. I've got the heat down on low. And I'm going to add a little bit of half and half to help make it even more creamy. And then we're going to call it done. So warm it up just a teeny bit now. Just a little bit of information here. In addition, I have not added any salt or any pepper to this, and it surely will need them. But experience has told me that when I make a soup like this, the best thing to do is to not add those until at the very last minute, or maybe even at the table, because it's real easy to add, but it's very difficult to take salt and pepper out. So there we are. I'm squishing it just a little bit, just mushing a few of the potatoes, but not much. There we are, potato soup. I'm going to get out a bowl and a spoon and give it a taste. Okay, we will put in just a little bit of salt. This is that applewood smoked salt that we buy that I really like. And just a little bit of pepper. Stir that up. We will give this a taste. Needs a little bit more salt, but it's almost spot on. So that doesn't surprise me a bit. Like I said, it's a lot easier to add it now after the fact than it is to have something that's too salty and try and figure out what else you can put in to counteract the over saltiness. So there you go. Tonight's dinner is potato and onion soup with bacon in it, and it tastes very good. So enjoy the rest of the winter and stay warm. I'm going to stay warm by eating more soup. And if you like my channel, I would certainly appreciate if you would subscribe. And we will catch you the next time I come around on the video. Bye bye.